All right, so I'm going to try to do the video as short as possible. I'm going to go over the van, what I did to it. Not going to try to touch on too much of how much it was to build because there's just too many variables in that. I don't want to give you guys pricing and then you're like, you lied, that wasn't the right price. Because, you know, if you can buy the parts and install them yourself or have someone else do it, which is going to change the price drastically. So I won't really go into that for the van price. I did get it for like 73,400 something. I don't know. I'll try to find the sticker price on it on my paperwork stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go over the van and then kind of go over things that I did to it, things that I had other people do because I didn't trust myself doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be kind of a long video. Hopefully not, but I'll try to make it quick. So to get started in the front, it's pretty basic front, nothing too crazy. It's a 9-inch screen, but when you go on Apple CarPlay, you only get about like this much of the screen. So it's kind of dumb. I don't know why they do that, but I think there's even a petition going around the Sprinter forums of trying to get Mercedes to release firmware to allow the whole screen to be used with Apple CarPlay. The front is pretty cool too. It has like a bunch of storage, cup holders that really fit cans, sodas and stuff, Monsters. This little section here is a wireless charger, so you put your phone in there, it'll charge wirelessly. And then this car is a Type C, so you're gonna have to change your cables if you have the older versions like the USB Type A or whatever. And then more storage there, some storage here, 4 cup holders in the front. The steering wheel controls suck. I hate it. Volume up, volume down, pause, suppress, and then to change a song, this little square here, it works like a cursor almost, and as you're wiggling this thing around like this, it'll select different things on the radio and then you click. So it's kind of annoying. You're driving and you're trying to see in your radio constantly to see if you're on the skip button so that you can press it, which is kind of unsafe to me, in my opinion. But yeah, there's no designated button to skip a song, so that's annoying. Unless there's a way of doing that, I don't know. But yeah, the seats are manual, so you know, he's just old school. I did add some swivel seats, so that's what these red things are. My dog chewed that up. Pretty wild. But yeah, you just press on it and just kind of swivel the seat around. I did that to both. This actually is a driver swivel because if I were to swivel this seat, it'll go this way, but this one also goes that way. I wanted it that way so that when I swivel my seat this way, I can put my AC unit here, and then have a piece that goes up to here and it'll vent out all the hot air and stuff. So that's for the AC. I still have to use power and whatnot, but that's why I would rather the seat swivel this way. So I'm okay with it. I think people were like, yo, you got your seat swivel wrong. But I'm like, that's kind of what I wanted, because I know if I were to get the other swivel, it wouldn't rotate that way. I did add these 2 OEM buttons for my Baja lights. So in the front, I'll show you, I have some lights. These are pretty cool. I'm planning on adding a few more, but that's going to be later. And then, yeah. So after that, we have the headliner up here. Man, I may need to turn on the lights. So I have the headliner up there. This is from RB Components. They do have another shelf that goes further down, so like right here instead of up here. But I didn't want that because I wanted to keep these cubbies up here for like a bunch of storage and stuff. So I went with this higher one. I was only planning on putting my window covers anyways. So the window covers to cover all the wheels, all the windows. So this one right here too. So I mainly did it to cover that, but I'm thinking about just adding like a bungee in the back and then kind of hanging them from under here as tightest to the bed as possible, since this bed is most likely permanent. I'm not looking really to take it off, and if I do, it's going to be easy to just remove that stuff with the window covers. So not too big of a deal. But yeah, this thing is pretty cool. It gives you some more storage space up top to throw some extra stuff. I have like a pillow back there and then a sleeping bag and whatnot. And then I just got a really cheap sticky curtain rod that just sticks onto this. It's pretty solid. And then a really cheap curtain rod to put these blackout curtains that aren't really blackout. Now let's talk about the seat here. So this was a crew van. This wasn't the cargo. So it did have a 3-seat bench. But I took it to an upholstery shop and they chopped it for me and then they reupholstered it. And now it's just a 2-seat. So I wanted that because I wanted this space to be free of me walking to the back. But because it was a crew van, these seats would sit a lot closer to over here, which would make it difficult if this seat here was pushed further up, which it was, and I were to swivel the seat around. Our knees of the rear passenger and me would be touching because it'd be so close. So I was like trying to figure out a way to push this seat back somehow. And Mercedes, I think the passenger van has these rails here. These rails in the passenger van that are kind of like flop. They're like, they're switched around. So it's for the third or fourth row in the passenger van. So I went ahead and bought those. They're OEM from Mercedes. I put them on and it allowed me to put the seat from back here all the way to here. So it kind of gave me that space that I was looking for. A little bit too much, a little bit more than what I wanted, but I don't mind it. It's okay. And then I ended up getting this mount here. I forgot for who makes this mount. But it's to put the lagoon table on it. So after I did the seat, I needed to do the floor. So I'm going over everything that I did in order. That way you guys get an idea of what the build out is, because trust me, it's like there's so much thinking that needs to go ahead of time before you even start throwing these panels on, like electrical and wiring. So you want to make sure you're doing everything within like a certain order. So after I did the seats, I got all my stuff figured out. I was like, all right, I want to tackle the floor. But the floor, I wanted a marine grade wood floor. Does that make sense? It's a real thick compressed piece of wood that kind of makes it waterproof because of how well compressed it is. And it's also pretty heavy. So it kind of helps with the ride handling of the van because it's adding all that lower weight. So I knew I wanted that. So that was the next step. So I don't have a machine to cut this big sheet of wood because it comes into 3 pieces. But even then, I just don't have a router or anything to really cut these holes or these cuts. Or can I even draw a straight line? So I was like, I'm going to go to RB Components and have them do the floor for me. And had them install it, had them cut and install it. And then I think I also added the ceiling fans. So I added 2. I wanted one up here. These are the Max Air fans. I forgot which model. So I added 2 of those. They did the cut and install for this. And it was expensive, man. Like, they do good work, though. And they also added L-Track, too, to the bottom. And that was about, I want to say, $4,600. $4,600 around. I'll look at the invoices. I'll try. And, yeah, it was about that much to get the floor, this trim piece, this extension, because this section here was pretty much the same as down here. It's just all the way across, but they added that extra extension so that when you're walking by or whatever. And yeah, and then the ceiling, right? So the ceiling fans. So that was pretty expensive. I got that done. Also, the floor is just wood, so you got to add this, the coin flooring. So that's why it gets really expensive. But yeah, that's just the floor. Got that done. Then the next step that I got done by, again, RB Components was this window here. So this window was just a flat, regular window similar to this this sliding door window. And I wanted one that allowed me to kind of open this up like that to allow some airflow and stuff. I actually need to lubricate or put some lubricant on those seals too, because I forgot. But yeah, so I added the window. It already had the cut, so they didn't have to cut into it. They just had to remove the old regular window and put this one on. And then I also had them do it's a wiring harness that goes from the front to the back. If you have a Sprinter that's empty, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just a big wiring harness that goes like a real thick one, bunch of wires. So what they do is they cut it and they reroute it behind the bracing of the vehicle so that it's not in the way, so that when you throw these panels on, you're not pinching or squishing the wiring harness. So I needed that done because I wasn't going to cut all those little wires and find out how to reroute or whatever. So I had them do that. That was like $2,600 or something with the window included. The install the window. I forgot. I'm just throwing these random prices. Could be less. I'll try my best in the description of this video to put in the pricing of everything that I got done from RB Components. So the electrical stuff I did myself. I did a pretty good job routing everything. It's just the way that I set up my switches was, I wish I did it a little differently. So I had these switches done down here, and these control the lights. I have two sets of lights, a set of like really bright white lights and then like a warmer light in the rear for like sleeping. And they're all dimmable, only that if I open the door and I turn these switches on, these will turn on my lights. But if I leave these switches on, I won't be able to use the switch that I have here next to the bed for these lights here. So if that switch would have been on, this would be useless. So I wish I made it so that if I turn that switch on and then I turn this switch off, it'll turn the lights off. So this switch turns them on and off, same thing, and also set up on a dimmer. I wanted these white so that if I'm studying or whatever, I have white light instead of like warm light. I think I just like this light better when I'm studying. And then I also have two lights under here that are set up to this single switch. And I could turn these on from the rear too. I don't know why I did that, but I can. So yeah, I tackled all the wiring. I made sure I got some outlets in there for like computer chargers or whatever. So I added that. I added this box here from Anchor. I'm a huge fan of this charger. I won't pull it out because I don't think I can. But this has like two USBs. This is a 45 watt, this is a 20 watt. And then these two are regular USB fast charging, PD or whatever the heck it's called. But this thing is pretty cool. I just added it underneath. Had that wire going through the wall and then hardwired it to this outlet here. And then this outlet works like a normal house outlet. And then after I finished all the wiring on that wall, I went to the ceiling, did my lightings up there. One thing that I had someone else do for me is the stereo system. So obviously this is an OEM radio, but I had them install amplifier and a converter underneath this seat. Under that seat, there's also a heater, but I'll go over that a little later. But yeah, so amp is underneath this seat. There's a 10-inch subwoofer underneath this seat. So under here, there's a sub. I added that speaker over there. And then this speaker up here. So after that, it sounds a lot better. The OEM radio on these vans suck, like really bad. So that really helps make the sound and road trips a little better. So continuing on about the wiring, I'm gonna have to go to the rear of the van, but I'll talk about it. I'll just put B-roll on top of this. But the rear of the van is, so all the electrical stuff in the van is powered by a Goal Zero Yeti 3000X, and it's also paired with two 200 watt solar panels in the roof. So yeah, that Goal Zero pretty much powers the whole thing. I forgot the link system or whatever it's called from Goal Zero. It's pretty much wiring. It's pretty much wiring that connects all the way to the main battery of the van, and as I'm driving, it's charging the Goal Zero at like more than 300 watts. Which is really good because I never really have to deal with my Goal Zero being low, because it's trickle charging with the solar panel, the 200 watts. Or if I'm home, I'll just plug in hardwire to the wall outlet to keep that battery charged. Or if I'm driving really far, it's charging like 300 plus watts while I drive. So that Goal Zero is doing really well, and it handles all this stuff. I don't really have a lot of crazy things in the van, so it handles really, really well. I also added two Baja design lights. So I have one there, one in the back as like my garage lights. I wish I did that a little differently because the one in the rear blinds the crap out of me when I turn it on. So I might even reconfigure it, maybe move it a little further up so that it doesn't do that. But I don't know, we'll see. I'll see how I can rewire that because this box here is it's pretty difficult to take apart. I also added two Baja Design Sports for each side. They turn on with the switch inside of the van next to the Goal Zero. I wish I would have done the wiring so that I can connect it to one of these so that as I'm driving or whatever, I can turn those that scene lighting on the side of the vans on, but I didn't. But again, those Bajas are wired into the Goal Zero, so I don't really have to worry about killing my main battery. But I just wish I wired that differently. So that's pretty much it for the wiring for the most part. I did have someone help me with when I did my 22-gallon water tank, because they also installed my water pump. You have to drill through the van on the floor so that you can get all your hosing and stuff underneath the van. I didn't want to touch that. So I had them do both of these boxes. So this box and the one over here that houses a Go Zero. And this one houses 22-gallon tank. They did all that for me. I'm not a carpenter. I suck at cutting any piece of wood. So I had them do that for me. And it came out pretty good. I still they left the stickers on to what materials they use from Home Depot. On the other side, it does work like a storage box as well. So the Go Zero only takes up a quarter of the box, and everything else is kind of empty. So I just throw blankets and sleeping bags and stuff in there. So it's pretty cool. And it's kind of like hidden, so you can't really tell that this is a box that you could open, but you can. And it has magnets, so that kind of locks it into place. So the next thing that we ended up doing was the wall panels. But I think right before we did the wall panels, I made the choice of just going through with getting this SAR heater installed. So this is something that I was on the fence about getting. The heater alone is, the D2 is like about, I don't know, $1,600 to $1,900 by itself, not including install. And I just went ahead and got it. I was like, all right, you know what? I go to a lot of other places. If I go here, there, whatever, it's going to be cold. I'd rather just have it before I throw all this paneling on and have to deal with rewiring everything. So I was like, let's just do it. So I bought the heater. The same guy that installed my boxes, he also installed my radio, and then he installed the heater as well. So under this seat, I have the SAR heater. I also have the amp and the converter for the radio or whatever. So all that stuff lives under there. It looks really organized too. I wish I could get a picture of it. It looks really clean. He did a really good job doing that. And then once he installed it, he left everything out. He's like, all right, cool. Like, it's ready to go. So I was like, all right, cool. I took it home. And then, oh, this is dangerous. Gotta figure that out. Sorry, I got sidetracked. My ADHD. Then I went ahead and started throwing all the panels on. Since all these cuts were pre-made already, I just had to put them on and start drilling into the wall, right? Before I put on this panel, though, because you see how this is a panel within itself, I had to do another bracing, similar to the bracing I did for the bed, that RB component sells, for the cabinets, so that way they're like firm on there. I can like probably hang from this. So I did the bracing. I have to rivet that in. It's kind of tedious, but especially if you're using a manual one, not the like cool Milwaukee one that I wanted. It took a while. I did that. I already had my wiring up here for the microwave. And then I threw this cabinet on. This is a pretty basic cabinet too. I actually had ordered a bigger one, but it reached out like maybe up to like right here. It was too much cabinet. I don't think I needed that much for what I use this van for. This is just like a junk cabinet. I just have a bunch of random stuff in here. And then I should probably organize it a little better, but I don't know. I'll probably do that later. But yeah, so, and then I also have a mirror that I put onto the front right there. But yeah, I added the cabinet, microwave works, everything's solid. So threw on the cabinet, started putting my wall paneling up. All these lights were kind of prefixed already. I just had to take them off. And then once I put my ceiling on, I just kind of squeezed them in through these holes. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Added that. And then after that was on, I started adding little things. So this fan here, for the heat, I highly recommend this fan right here. This fan is really expensive though. It's like $100, and you wouldn't think this fan looks real cheap. Is $100, but it is. But it's really worth it. All the other fans suck compared to this. It's super quiet. Not sure if you could even hear that. Really quiet. It has a few settings. It's also like kid proof, so you can have this spinning at the fastest speed, and if you put your finger in here, it won't chop it off. So I got the fan. I also have this Kelty box here. It's a see-through box. This houses my air fryer, my rice cooker, my jet boil. I think it's in here. My jet boil, yeah, it's in there. And then a jet boil frying pan and stuff. Just like a few cooking things in here. Then I also have the Dometic. So this is a Dometic CFX 375. So this, you can set it up to be 2 fridges. I have a pie in there. I think this is Andy's pie. Anyways, you can set this up to be a fridge and a freezer, or 2 fridges or 2 freezers. It really depends, whatever you want to do. But I can set that up if I wanted to. It's not mounted to anything, which is kind of like something I was worried about. But it hasn't really moved, and been using it for a while. So whatever. I mean, this seat will stop it from crashing into us. But yeah. So I have the Dometic. I added this little lamp here. Real cheap. I think it was like $12. Hardwired it. It's like a reading lamp. Turn it on. And then it also underneath has like a USB charger, so you can plug in another cable there. I added this little bag here to put your phone and stuff while you sleep. This is my bootleg security system that I built for the van. I'll actually make a separate video on the security because I do have cameras in here, front and back, and then I have this that attaches to all the doors. I'll show you a video. It shouldn't be too long of a video, but I'll show you a video on that later. I also added these bags here. Damn, dude, I forgot who makes these bags. Like Van something Van. I'll post like a quick overlay as to who makes these, but you have to buy this. This is like $80, $90, I don't know, 70. And it allows you to put these bags on. These bags are really expensive. They're like $120. I don't know why they're so expensive. I'm sorry, whoever this company is. But I don't know. They seem pretty basic to me, man. I don't know why it's so expensive. Anyways, yeah, so you put your clothes in here. Have a little section to hang stuff in. I like them. I really do like them. I just think they're a little expensive for what they really are. And in the back, they have these hooks here that have like rubber shielding on it, whatever. And then you just kind of hang them back up. And it makes it so that you can take them on and off. I have another one here. It has a lot of like storage. I'll give them that. Like, it's cool, but it's still pricey. I don't know what's making these so expensive. And then this rear one, it's the same bag of this, but it's just like a mesh one. You could put towels and stuff there that you don't kind of want to get stinky or whatever. But yeah, so these bags. Next, I got this bug netting. Haven't used it once. I just have it here. Then again, I did get these on right when winter started. So I don't really, bugs weren't really an issue in the winter. It's not really. But they're there if I ever want to use them. But yeah, in the rear doors, so these 2 doors, I also have another bug net here. And then on the door themselves, I have like storage on each of those bags. So each door has a storage bag that allows me to add some stuff to it. I think it's pretty cool. I wasn't going to do that because that, again, was another kind of like pricey little mod. But I ended up doing it, and I'm glad I did because now I can put a lot of little things like all my L-track pieces are in there. My shower curtain for the rear door. So if I do want to take a shower in the summer, I have these little like, this stuff here is like a little cover or whatever that magnetizes to the doors, and it kind of gives me privacy. Up here I have like a flat tire kit, so it has like tire plugs and all that. And then on the bottom, just a bunch of hygiene stuff like toothbrushes and whatnot. I have my water hose for the water tank, my water filter up top to kind of like, if I'm filling up from a water hose, it kind of filters that water out from whatever, all contaminants or whatever. And that's pretty much it. And these Sodio, I don't know what this company's called. They have really nice looking crates. I took advantage of a sale they had because otherwise these crates are really expensive and I wouldn't have gotten them just like that. Sorry, dudes, if you're watching. I doubt it, but they're pricey, man. I don't know, man. Everything's expensive now. But yeah, these things are nice though. I mean, I'll give them that. They're like really nice and stuff. They look cool. They have really cool colors. You can buy the paddings like I did for it so that you can put your camera equipment. I have some coffee stuff in here, so you know, nothing too crazy. I have an extension cord, so when I throw the monitor on the monitor stand or whatever. I also have my what you call it, I also have my projector in here. Oh, I was like, is it broken? But it's this thing. So my projector sits in here. All there's rubberized flooring on this, so you have to buy extra for it. But, so I have one of these here. This is Velcroed on. I don't want to take the Velcro off though, because it's very difficult to put back on. But it's Velcroed on. And then I have another one of these that lives underneath this seat over here. Damn, I'm just showing all these robbers where all my stuff is, bro. It's crazy. So I have another one here. This is all dusty. I haven't cleaned the van. Actually, we did. Just not a good job. So there's another one here. And here I have like some gloves. This is a jump start kit. Some bags, some more fuel, some camp lighting. I have this this pillow, I think. Yeah, this is like a pillow, hammock, and all here I have a bunch of electrical stuff, wiring and stuff. There's some fuses in here. This is just like some, it's like a towel. Yeah, I have this stuff under the seat. I don't really use this much, so I don't really want it. Like, I don't even need it to be within sight. Then I have my squeegee thing here because kind of need it when it's raining and whatnot. Wow, look, this is a piece of the curtain rod, and I forgot to put these gloves. God. All right, so now we go to the outside of the van. I don't have anything done aside from this Van Mart bumper thing. I don't know what it's called, but I threw on some Baja designs in the front. This is all the lighting I actually need for what I do. Like, I thought I was going to throw on the LP9s or LP6 kit that goes in the front grille and then ditch lights and whatnot for the lighting. But these little Baja Pros are actually enough. Like, I don't think I want to add any more lighting. Another thing, I don't want it to look too flashy or whatever. For the suspension, I highly encourage people, once you start building a van, if you get one, you need to do suspension. Like, you can't get away with the stock suspension. I thought I would probably get away because I was like, oh, I'm doing a light build, nothing too heavy. I'm not riding around with 22 gallons. I normally just kind of keep it half full. But yeah, no, you definitely need to add suspension on it. Whatever suspension you want, I'm sure it'll be better than stock. I went ahead and went with King. Probably overkill for what I do, but I kind of just wanted to do the buy once, cry once. This is a van that I'm hopefully planning on keeping for a while. So I wanted to do the Kings, front and rear. For the rear leaf pack, I think I went with Van Compass. I think I did their mini pack or whatever. I'm hoping, really, really hoping that actually is enough. I don't really ride around with a lot of weight. And when I do load up, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm hoping that'll be enough to give me the height and stiffen up the rear a little more. But yeah, I might even do the I don't know what for the Sprinters, what they call the auxiliary shock in the front, secondary shock in the front. But I would have to order it from King, and I don't know how long that's going to take. I might do that after I finish everything, since it is a pretty quick install once I do get that kit. But yeah, that's going to be for the outside. Rims and tires, I'll probably keep the same rims. I really want to try my best not to add any more weight to the wheels. I did want Method 701s, but I think they're a little bit, well, I'm sure they're heavier than these steel wheels that I currently have right now. So I'll probably just throw like an AT3 from Toyo on this, or I don't know, maybe I don't really want to do the KO2. So I might stick with Wild Peaks or Toyo AT3s and call it a day. So that's probably what I'm going to do for the outside. Nothing else. I am thinking about adding some of those OWL products, the panel for the rear doors, maybe for the spare, or even for the spare, even for like an extra box to add more things to it, like a fire pit and whatnot. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But so far, haven't really needed more room in this. I have this REI, I don't know, how 120 liter box or thing that I can add all my stuff into. Kind of keeps everything organized so that I have a lot of space back here to throw whatever. Bikes fit back here if I wanted to. Everything just it fits nicely in here. I don't really need to add any more. This L track is really sick. It actually helps out a lot. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for the van. I feels like there's a lot in here, but there really isn't. And even though there really isn't a lot in here, it's still really pricey to build one of these things. I'm glad I did though. I really like it. It's super useful for me and what I'm doing with school and everything. It's like my cool little break room. I can hang out in here in between classes and whatnot. So I really like it. In terms of family, like if you have a family, the 144 wheelbase van is, I want to say, big enough for like a solid 3 people. Especially because I have these swivel seats and this bench seat here. 2 people can fit fine on the bench seat. Obviously kids for this corner seat over here because it is a little smaller, but for this section here, someone else could sit down. If you have 3 people, you obviously are going to want to do that extension, which kind of limits the amount of room you get to go in here, because I kind of like going in here and just hanging out here in this section. But I don't know, it really depends. But for family, the 144 base is fine. I know a bunch of people, a bunch of YouTubers and stuff that have this van that make it work with like 2 people and like 2 kids. Some dudes are out here just 2 people in the front, and then everything else is like a whole living space. Like this bench seat won't be here. They'll have like a smaller bench with like a sink here. I didn't really need a sink. I don't think I ever wanted a sink in the van, because I could just wash my hands with the water outside if I really wanted to. I can do dishes outside if I really wanted to. If I'm ever in a position where I have to dirty dishes, is most likely going to be at camp or while I'm parked somewhere for a while because I'm cooking. So I'm going to have that access anyways. I don't really want to cook in the van because it makes the van smell. So I don't mind doing all that stuff outside. So I didn't really need the sink. Bathroom is a different thing. I do have a Dometic cassette toilet that I, take with me for emergencies. Usually there's public restrooms all over. Or if you're out in the woods, you want to pick a tree and do your thing. But if there's an emergency you don't have any of those options, then you can use a cassette toilet. And they're actually, from all the people that I've spoken to that have one, they're actually not smelly at all. They're really, if you do it right, it can be a really clean process, even dumping everything out. But again, I'm in the medical field, so that stuff doesn't really gross me out. All right, so to end the video, do I recommend someone to build a van? I do, if you have like the budget for it. If you have a family that doesn't really like the whole sleeping on the ground tent or going places that are too cold or whatever it is, having a van kind of opens up a lot of opportunity, especially if you have a family, like I said, that doesn't like that stuff, because you can have heat, you can have a nicer bed, you can be enclosed and away from all the elements. If your rains, you can actually camp a little more. This is not camping. You can stay in a lot more places because you have the van. So if you want to go to Yosemite, whatever it is, and you're kind of shit out of luck with campgrounds or whatnot, there's a lot of other places you can stay in with your van, and you don't need to set up a tent or anything else to kind of stay in your van. So it's a little bit more stealthier. But yeah, I don't know. I really like it. There's a lot other builds you can do. There's hundreds of other builds you can do that have the sink, have the restroom, have the shower. This is just a very basic, simple build